The plan to assassinate Charlie Kirk wasn't whispered in dark alleys or scribbled in secret notebooks. It was bragged about in Discord chats, carved into bullets, and finally confessed to his own father. Investigators say 22-year-old Tyler Robinson didn't just want to kill, he wanted to send a message. But how does a kid from a respected law enforcement family end up plotting one of the most chilling political attacks in recent memory? Tonight we uncover the disturbing trail that led to this shocking moment. A shocking twist has just surfaced in the Charlie Kirk case. Investigators say the man accused of pulling the trigger didn't just plan the attack, he engraved bizarre anti-fascist messages onto his bullets, left chilling Discord chats behind, and even confessed to his own father. But how does a 22-year-old from a respected law enforcement family turn into someone capable of carrying out a political assassination? Before we break it all down, hit that subscribe button to help us reach our first 1,000 subscribers. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Utah's Governor Spencer Cox stunned reporters during a Friday morning press conference when he revealed just how political 22-year-old Tyler Robinson had become in recent years. This wasn't just a quiet shift in opinions or casual debates at school. According to Governor Cox, Tyler's views had hardened to the point where even family dinners turned into tense confrontations. One moment in particular stands out. At a family gathering, Tyler brought up Charlie Kirk's scheduled appearance at Utah Valley University. Instead of brushing it off like small talk, he slammed his fork down and said Charlie was, quote, full of hate and spreading hate. That wasn't just frustration, it was a clear sign that something deeper was brewing. His comments caught relatives off guard, showing just how bitter and personal his feelings had become toward the conservative commentator. Investigators now say that dinner conversation might have been the first glimpse into a radicalization process that no one in his family could have imagined. The quiet college kid was suddenly carrying a chip on his shoulder, expressing strong resentment toward conservative voices, and openly calling them dangerous. What looked like simple political disagreements may have actually been the early warning signs of something far more serious. And as disturbing as that sounds, it was only the beginning. Because when authorities recovered the murder weapon, they found something that pushed this case into even darker territory. Dartors finally recovered the weapon. It wasn't just any rifle. It was a Mauser 30 MT-06, a high-powered bolt-action rifle capable of hitting targets from hundreds of yards away with deadly precision. But what really shocked detectives wasn't the rifle itself. It was what they discovered on the spent casings. Each casing told a story, one far stranger than anyone expected. Engraved onto the metal were bizarre taunts, internet-style memes, and even references to anti-fascist history. One casing read, "Hey fascists, catch," followed by a string of arrows, almost like some twisted video game message. Another had the words to Bella Ciao, a famous Italian World War II anti-fascist anthem. And yet another carried an immature insult, mocking anyone who happened to pick it up and read it. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment outburst. These engravings took time, planning, and a level of obsession. Engraving bullets isn't easy. You need the tools, the patience, and the intent. That detail alone suggested that Tyler wasn't just angry in the moment. He wanted to send a message, a bizarre calling card left behind at the scene of a crime. What's more chilling is the mix of tones in the engravings. Some came off almost playful, mocking, and sarcastic. Others were sharp political jabs, clearly aimed at Charlie's ideology. It was this strange blend, part dark humor, part ideological hatred, that painted a disturbing picture of what was going on inside Tyler's head. And while the bullets hinted at his mindset, the Discord messages investigators uncovered would reveal just how carefully Tyler had planned every step leading up to the shooting. If the bullet engravings showed Tyler's state of mind, the Discord messages uncovered by investigators revealed his entire playbook. These weren't random rants tossed into a group chat. They were detailed step-by-step conversations that outlined exactly how he prepared for the attack. According to his roommate, Tyler openly discussed retrieving a rifle from a hidden drop point, describing how he stashed it in a bush to avoid suspicion. He even bragged about the engraved bullets, as though leaving behind those cryptic messages was just as important as the shooting itself. In another chat, he mentioned attaching a scope, suggesting that he was planning for precision, not chaos. The language he used made it clear this wasn't something thrown together in a fit of rage. He talked about angles, timing, and logistics, the kind of cold preparation that strips away any doubt about whether this was premeditated. Investigators say these messages left no question. Tyler had been carefully plotting the attack for days, if not weeks. What's striking is how casually he dropped these details into conversations. It didn't sound like he was confessing to a guilty conscience. Instead, it came off like someone showing off, almost proud of what he was planning. That smugness might have been his biggest mistake, because without his roommate sharing those chats, investigators might never have had such a clear window into his preparation. And while the Discord logs painted Tyler as a calculating planner, his personal life told a different story. One of privilege, stability, and a family that at least on the outside looked picture perfect. So how does a young man raised in a respected law enforcement household spiral into planning a political assassination? On paper, Tyler Robinson's life looked almost ordinary, maybe even privileged. He lived in a $600,000 six-bedroom home in Washington, Utah, alongside his parents and two younger brothers. To neighbors, they seemed like a picture-perfect family, the kind of household that celebrated birthdays with balloons, went on family trips, and shared smiling photos online. But behind that front door was a story no one could have predicted. Tyler's father, Matt Robinson, wasn't just any parent. He was a 49-year-old veteran of the Washington County Sheriff's Department, with nearly 3 decades of service. The irony is staggering. A career lawman who spent his life locking up criminals would one day be forced to handcuff his own son. According to reports, Matt was the very person who turned Tyler in after his son confessed to him in private. Imagine the weight of that moment, a father torn between protecting his child and upholding the very laws he swore to defend. Tyler's mother, Amber, also dedicated her life to service, though in a different way. At 47, she worked for Intermountain Support Coordination Services, helping people with disabilities get the care they needed. By all accounts, she was warm, supportive, and proud of her children. Social media posts show her bragging about Tyler's achievements, calling him a genius for winning scholarships and praising his bright future. And then there were his younger brothers, innocent kids suddenly caught in the middle of a nightmare they never asked for. For them, this wasn't just news headlines. It was the destruction of the family unit they'd grown up with. What makes this part of the story so haunting is the contrast. Outwardly, this family stood for law, order, and community values. But behind the scenes, Tyler was drifting down a darker path, one that would ultimately force his own father to pick up the phone and make the hardest call of his life. And if you think that family background makes Tyler's transformation baffling, wait until you hear about his education and the early signs from his childhood that hinted at who he might one day become. Tyler Robinson wasn't the kind of kid people expected to end up in headlines for a crime like this. In 2021, he earned a $32,000 scholarship and briefly attended Utah State University. His mom celebrated the achievement online, posting pictures of him smiling and calling him a genius. To friends and relatives, Tyler looked like a success story in the making, a smart kid with a bright future ahead. But if you look closer at his early life, you start to see details that feel unsettling in hindsight. In one family photo from 2017, Tyler dressed up as Donald Trump for Halloween, complete with the suit, tie, and signature hairstyle. The irony is hard to miss. The same boy who once posed as a Republican icon would later be accused of assassinating a conservative leader. Other images show him surrounded by firearms at a young age. In one, he's holding an M2 Browning .50 caliber machine gun, smiling like it's just another toy. In another, he's pictured opening a gun kit he received as a Christmas present. Guns weren't foreign to Tyler, they were part of his childhood environment, normal and even celebrated. So how does someone go from playful costumes and family vacations to carving anti-fascist slogans into bullets? Some say the answer lies in his brief time at college, where his political ideas may have hardened. Others suggest the online communities he joined were the real influence, pulling him away from his family's conservative-leaning roots and into more radical spaces. That shift didn't just show up in engravings or Discord chats, it became painfully obvious in the way he spoke at family dinners, openly mocking conservative voices and calling Charlie Kirk full of hate. Something had changed, and those closest to him couldn't see the full extent until it was too late. And yet, no matter how far he drifted, the way Tyler was ultimately caught had nothing to do with internet sleuthing or chance encounters. It all came down to a shocking moment of honesty when he confessed to the one person he thought he could trust. For all the planning Tyler Robinson put into this attack, what ultimately led to his downfall wasn't high-tech surveillance or a tip from a stranger, it was his own conscience, or maybe arrogance, that made him crack. After the shooting, Tyler went home and confessed to his father, Matt Robinson. Imagine that moment. A 22-year-old sitting across from his dad, a veteran sheriff's deputy, admitting to one of the most shocking crimes in Utah's history. For Matt, it must have felt like the ground had fallen out from beneath him. The instincts of a father clashed with the duties of a lawman. But in the end, Matt did what he had been trained his whole life to do: he acted. Matt reached out to a close minister friend, someone who had ties to law enforcement. That minister contacted a top US Marshal, and together they created a plan to bring Tyler in safely. While authorities made their way to the Robinson home, Matt kept Tyler secure, preventing him from fleeing or doing something worse. By 11 p.m. Thursday night, Tyler was in custody without incident. But Tyler's confession wasn't the only piece of evidence. The FBI had already been circling in. Surveillance cameras near the scene captured an imprint of Converse shoes, and investigators noticed that the tread pattern matched shoes Tyler was seen wearing in family photos. Facial recognition technology applied to security footage also pointed in his direction. Add in over 130 tips from the FBI hotline, and the case against him was tightening fast. The final blow came when authorities located the rifle itself. It was found wrapped in a towel and hidden in a wooded area near the campus, complete with those chilling engraved casings. For investigators, it was confirmation that the attack wasn't random, but carefully planned from start to finish. And as the news of Tyler's arrest spread, it didn't take long for national figures to weigh in. Some saw this as a personal tragedy for the Robinson family, but others framed it as a political attack on one of the country's most controversial conservative voices. The arrest of Tyler Robinson sent shockwaves far beyond Utah. Within hours, national leaders and media outlets were scrambling to respond, and the story became more than just a local tragedy. It was framed as a political assassination with nationwide implications. Former President Donald Trump was among the first to speak out, making a statement on Fox and Friends, and later posting on his platform, Truth Social. He didn't mince words. Trump called Charlie Kirk the finest person, and insisted the attack was politically motivated. He demanded the ultimate punishment for Tyler, saying he should face the death penalty if convicted. In a somber message, Trump went even further, describing Charlie as a martyr for truth and freedom, and announcing that flags across the United States would be lowered to half-staff in his honor. The tributes didn't stop there. Turning Point USA, the organization Charlie built into a massive conservative movement, held vigils outside their Phoenix headquarters. Supporters gathered on campuses in Arizona, Florida, and Utah, laying flowers beneath American flags and lighting candles in memory of a man they considered an icon. For many young conservatives, Charlie wasn't just a commentator, he was the face of their movement, known for showing up on college campuses and challenging liberal voices head-on. Utah Governor Spencer Cox also doubled down at the press conference, calling the shooting a political assassination and warning that it marked a dark day for the state and the country. His words underscored the seriousness of the case. This wasn't just about one man's actions, but about the growing tensions in America's political climate. Meanwhile, Charlie's personal story added another layer of heartbreak. He left behind his wife, Erica Fransky, a former Miss Arizona, and their 2 young children just 3 years old and 16 months old. The couple had celebrated their 4th wedding anniversary only a few months earlier. To supporters, the loss wasn't just political, it was deeply human. As vigils spread and calls for justice grew louder, the focus turned back to Tyler Robinson. How could someone from a law enforcement family, once praised as a promising student, spiral into an act so extreme, and more importantly, what truly pushed him over the edge? The story of Charlie Kirk's assassination isn't just about one tragic moment, it's about the state of America today. A father of 2, a husband, and a national conservative voice was gunned down outside his own home, and the man accused of pulling the trigger wasn't some random stranger, he came from a respected law enforcement family. This case forces us to confront some uncomfortable questions. How did political debates in this country become so toxic that disagreements spill over into violence? How does a promising young man like Tyler Robinson go from college student to accused assassin, and what does this mean for the future of free speech and political discourse in America? One thing is certain, this story isn't over. Court proceedings are just beginning, the investigation is still unfolding, and the national conversation around Charlie Kirk's life and legacy is only getting louder. Whether you saw him as a hero or a controversial figure, his death has left a mark on America that won't fade anytime soon. But now, I want to hear from you. Do you believe Tyler Robinson acted alone out of rage, or was this part of something bigger, maybe even planned? And do you think Charlie Kirk's death will unite people in defense of free speech, or will it deepen the political divide in America? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to stay updated as this story develops, make sure to subscribe. We'll be covering every twist and turn as it happens.